So hello and welcome to another video, and today we're looking at a piece of kit that I think often gets overlooked by photographers and videographers, but for me personally it's definitely one of the most important things that you can actually invest your money in, and that is a monitor calibrator. And we'll take a closer look around the details of this in a second, but firstly, what does it do? Well, this is a calibrator that will take readings from your monitor and along with the supplied software, it'll allow you to actually correctly calibrate your monitor so that you know that the colours, the contrast, the brightness, everything is absolutely spot on with your monitor, so your images and your video footage look as good as they should do. So you might be wondering, why do I need to worry about calibrating my monitor? The colours look fine. But the truth is, if you're working professionally, or if you print your images, or if you send video footage off to other people, you need to know that those colours are absolutely accurate. Otherwise, what they see might be completely different to what you think you've provided and might look awful to them. Now, the truth is, unless everyone's got a perfectly calibrated monitor, they might see something different to you anyway. But this goes back to being professional and making sure that you're doing the best quality work that you can, and therefore having your monitor properly calibrated so that you know that the colours and contrast and brightness are as accurate as they can be is just the first step in the right direction to producing good work. Certainly when you come into printing and things like that, making sure that your monitor is as accurate as possible. So this BenQ does actually have reminders and things to calibrate the monitor and a lot of controls over it, but without a device like the Spyder to actually read the monitor, it can be very difficult to ensure that you've got accurate colours. So with that in mind, what does a device like this actually do? Now, the puck itself is well designed, it certainly feels like good quality, and basically comes apart into two pieces. And what the back part does is act as a bit of a counterbalance, and this places over the top of the monitor, and on the other side of the puck there you'll see that there's a lens, and this is what does all of the actual reading. And as we go through the process shortly and I'll show you how to calibrate your monitor, you'll realise that this is actually taking readings throughout the whole calibration process. So that's essential. But on the other side you'll also see that there's an aperture there for an ambient light reading, and this is really important because this is actually designed to sit on your desk close to where you're working so that it can take ambient light readings and make adjustments should it need to every 10 minutes or so. It's also got a thread at the bottom so you can place the whole puck on top of a tripod and keep it close by where you're actually working. So a really well thought out design. Obviously it needs to be plugged into your computer via the USB, which I'm sure most computers have those. So really well thought out design. And actually quite an attractive piece of kit as well, so it's nice to have on the desk. So what we're going to do now is take a look at how to actually calibrate a monitor. Now, the BenQ that I'm using, I already have this calibrated. It's already been done and I had great fun in using this. The next thing that I want to calibrate is my MacBook Pro. Now, it's a 2015 MacBook. They're usually pretty good straight out of the box, but it hasn't been calibrated in years, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the Spyder Pro can do. Let's take a look. As you can see, I'm using the Spyder X Elite software, and it'll ask you to basically calibrate your monitor. This is the first thing that we're going to do when we first launch. It's going to go through a series of checks now to check that we've got the monitor warmed up, that it's been on for 30 minutes, that the lighting conditions are as they should be, and it'll also confirm what controls you have over the monitor and the actual Spyder connection itself. So I'm going to click next on there. Now, you do have the option to actually calibrate a projector or a typical kind of desktop display. Obviously we're going to click laptop for this one, but it is worth knowing that there are multiple options for what this calibrator can actually work on, in particular with the projector, but most commonly it'll either be a desktop or a laptop. So I'm just going to click next. It will then basically give you a list of which manufacturer and model it is. You can make a selection from there, but the software is actually pretty good at picking up which it is. So it knows that this is an Apple display, so I'm happy to go along with that, and I'm just going to go and click next. Again, we'll just double check what controls we actually have over the monitor. Now, this just being a MacBook Pro, I only have control over the brightness, but with other monitors you may have more control. So I'm just going to click next on there. and again it'll just check what display technology you're using. Now there's some great explanations there. I know that I'm using the wide LED, so I'm pretty much happy to go with that, but it might just be worth checking with your manufacturer as to what technology you're using. I'm just going to click next, and then we're going to select the workflow. Now you can basically use Studio Match if you want to match multiple monitors that you're using across the studio space. You also have the expert console there, but I'm just going to go with the step-by-step assistant as this is the first time that I've calibrated this laptop. So I'm going to click next. And then we have the option for, we can either recalibrate the monitor if we've done a previous calibration. We can check the current calibration of the monitor as well. But seeing as this is the first time that I've calibrated this monitor, I'm just going to go with full cal for a full calibration. And now you'll see that you have the actual outline of the Spyder X itself. And what that's basically telling you to do is to actually place the Spyder X in those boundaries, in between those arrows. And a helpful tip here is if you lean the laptop back, lean the monitor back, just so the calibrator can actually sit firmly against the screen. When you've got that placed within the boundaries, again, you can just go ahead and click next. Then when you click next, you'll be greeted by this random series of colours. And this is the actual calibrator doing what it needs to do. So it's going to go through various samples of colours, various kind of hues and shades, levels of brightness and levels of contrast. And this shouldn't really take too long. This is one of the big improvements with the Spyder X, is that it's much faster than it used to be. And as you can see, we're nearly at the end of the calibration process. So any second now, it's going to tell us that we've completed, and that is the actual monitor calibrated. Now it gives us an option to save this as a profile, and it's always useful if you're doing this on like a fortnightly or a monthly basis. What I like to do is just add the date to the actual profile that I'm using. So I'm just going to put October and obviously 19 for 2019, and then click save. And there you go, congratulations. So the monitor's actually been calibrated now. So I'm just going to click next at the bottom. And here we go, so the monitor's fully calibrated. We can basically turn it off, so we can go back to an uncalibrated view, so we can see how significant the difference is, and also we can use these images just as a bit of a guide, just to see how vibrant the colours are and things. I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to click next at the bottom. And this is one of the most important parts of the whole process. It gives you a profile overview. As you can see, I'm achieving 97% of sRGB, which I don't think is too bad for a 2015 MacBook Pro. It will also give you different profiles that you can check out just to see what you are achieving with your monitor. And it is always useful just to see, certainly in comparison to what you've achieved with previous months and what you're achieving with other monitors, just to see how far out of gamut the monitor is that you're actually using. But I'm pretty happy with the sRGB. So now I can click quit, and that is a perfectly calibrated monitor. So what are my final thoughts on the Spyder X? To be honest, it's a fantastic piece of kit, as I presumed it would be. I've used DataColor products for a number of years and never been disappointed with what they do. So really happy with the actual hardware side of it. The software is fantastic. It's really easy, really intuitive to use, and I had no problem setting it up and actually getting the monitor calibrated. And further to that, the actual calibration process, it's less than 2 minutes. It's a really basic process to go through. The speed of this device is significantly improved, so actually calibrating your monitor doesn't feel like an arduous process in the slightest. It literally is just as simple as going into the software, making sure that you've gone through all the warm-up process and things, and then just follow the instructions on the screen. So really simple, really easy to follow, and quite simply, there's no excuse not to do it at least once a month, just to make sure your monitor is perfectly calibrated. So are there any downsides to this? Well, I do like to keep a fairly minimal setup, so I don't really want to add something else to my desk, but I do appreciate that this is doing a good job, so I'm quite happy to have it there. And I guess the only other thing is cost as well. It's always expensive whenever you're working in photography, videography. There's always extra kit and things that you need, but honestly, for the price, I really think that this does a fantastic job, and I honestly really don't think that you can get away with producing professional standard of work without a properly calibrated monitor, so it's invaluable in that sense. But I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings below. Let me know if you've used one of these or something similar. Be interested to see what your experiences with it are. And also, if you've got any general questions, feel free to add a comment below. Also, if you've not subscribed, I'd appreciate that. I've got lots more videos coming up soon, and all the links to the products that I use, including the Spyder X, will be below, as well as a link to the DataColor website for more information on this actual unit. But I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, like I say, leave them below, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Cheers.